Why is it that the hardest working people you know are often the ones who stay the most financially stagnant? Have you ever looked at your bank account after a decade of grinding, of sacrificed weekends, missed family dinners, and relentless stress, only to realize that while your income went up, your freedom didn't? We are taught from childhood that the secret to wealth is labor. We are told that if we just work a little harder, save a little more, and follow the traditional path, the gold at the end of the rainbow will eventually appear. But by 2026, that promise has been shattered for millions. Inflation is quietly eating your savings. The housing market feels like a gated community you don't have the password for. And the hype of the week, whether it's a volatile tech stock or a new digital currency, seems to leave everyone broke except for the people selling the dream. There is a fundamental conflict happening right now. The world is getting faster and noisier, while the truly wealthy are getting quieter. You feel that knot in your stomach, don't you? That nagging suspicion that you're playing a game where the rules were changed without telling you. But what if I told you that one man has been playing a completely different game for 8 decades, and his results are finally revealing the invisible assets that actually matter? By the end of this video, you are going to possess a specific mental framework, a key, used by Warren Buffett, that will change how you view every dollar in your pocket. This isn't about a hot tip. It's about a psychological surgery that removes the broke mindset and replaces it with the owner mindset. Most people will scroll past this, choosing the comfort of their current struggle over the discomfort of growth. They will continue the same cycles that keep them stagnant, hoping for a different result. If you are actually committed to being different, show it now by hitting like and subscribing. Don't let this be another video you ignore while your future self pays the price for your hesitation. Think back to the before state, not just for Buffett, but for all of us. There was a time when the path to wealth seemed physical. You bought a factory, you hired workers, you produced a widget, and you sold it. This was the capital-intensive era. For years, even the brightest minds believed that to own wealth, you had to own things. You can probably relate to this in your own life. Perhaps you've spent years trying to accumulate the trappings of success, the right car, the right house, the tangible symbols of making it. But there's a psychological weight to those things, isn't there? The more physical assets you have, the more things there are to break, to tax, and to lose. Buffett himself started this way, hunting for cigar butts, dying companies that had one last puff of value left in them because they owned a physical factory or some scrap land. It was a struggle. It was a grind. It required constant monitoring and a broken way of thinking that assumed value was found in the debris of the past. If you've ever felt like you're running on a treadmill, working harder just to keep your head above water while inflation devalues your hard-earned cash, you are living in that cigar but reality. It's a period of quiet desperation where you realize that your labor is a finite resource, and if that's all you're selling, you will eventually run out of time before you run out of bills. The psychological toll of realizing that your safe, traditional investments are actually liabilities in disguise is enough to make anyone want to give up. This is the low point, the realization that the old rules are actually a trap designed to keep you productive for someone else's benefit, while your own dreams stay just out of reach. But then, the aha moment arrived. For Buffett, it wasn't a sudden flash of light, but a deep, sophisticated shift in his psychological DNA. He realized that as the world became more complex, the most valuable things became the ones you couldn't touch. By 2026, his net worth has climbed past $150 billion, and yet the most startling reality, the one that should keep you awake at night, is that more than 98% of that wealth was built after he turned 65. Think about that. While most people are looking to retire and stop growing, Buffett's investor mindset was just hitting its exponential phase. The discovery was simple but profound. Wealth is not about owning machines. It's about owning invisible moats. He moved away from the physical and doubled down on the psychological. While retail investors over the last 24 months have been distracted by volatile tech bubbles and hype-driven growth, Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway has quietly accumulated a record-breaking cash pile of over $333 billion. Why? Because he discovered that in a world of noise, the quiet assets are the ones that quietly make you rich while everyone else is screaming. He stopped buying companies that needed constant cash to survive and started buying companies that taxed human behavior. This is the shift from a consumer who pays for inflation to an owner who profits from it. He realized that the greatest asset isn't a factory. It's a productive asset that requires zero maintenance but yields infinite returns because it lives in the minds of the public. This is the sophisticated evolution of value, moving from the tangible to the intangible. It's the realization that while the world is distracted by the price of things, the wealthy are focused on the value of systems. To apply this to your own life, you must understand the hierarchy of Buffett's 3 asset classes. These aren't just financial categories. They are the bedrock of a 2026 survival strategy. The first and most vital lesson is the superiority of productive assets. These are things like high-quality companies, farms, or real estate, assets that do something. Buffett teaches us that unlike currency-based assets like bonds or cash, which are slowly eroded by the invisible tax of inflation, productive assets create value regardless of the currency's value. In 2026, he is obsessed with businesses that have economic goodwill, the ability to raise prices without losing a single customer. Think about that. If a company can charge you 10% more and you don't even blink, they have a tax on your needs. The mindset shift here is stop buying ticker symbols and start buying a piece of a basic human need. Now, I want to ask you a serious question based on this. Have you ever realized that your safe savings account is actually a slow-motion theft of your time? And if so, what was the specific moment or investment that made you realize you needed to change your strategy? Share your experience in the comments. It's the only way we break the broke cycle together. The second quiet asset is compound knowledge. Buffett views his mind as his primary productive engine. In a world of 24-hour AI-generated noise, the ability to focus on signals is a rare, high-value asset. Your circle of competence is your greatest moat. If you aren't upgrading your mental software, your physical capital will eventually vanish. The third asset is the most powerful, the inner scorecard. This is emotional temperament. Buffett's success is 10% intellect and 90% temperament. It's the ability to stay rational when the crowd is hysterical. By holding that massive cash war chest in 2026, he isn't missing out. He is buying optionality. He is waiting for the moment when your impatience becomes his opportunity. Wealth is simply the transfer of money from the impatient to the patient. To summarize this transformation, you have to stop looking at wealth as a destination and start looking at it as a set of psychological assets. You have to move from the outer scorecard, worrying about what the neighbors think or what the headlines say, to the inner scorecard, where your only metric is the rationality of your decisions. True wealth isn't about the number in your bank account. It's about the quiet assets you've built, your knowledge, your temperament, and your ownership of productive systems. Here is the gut punch truth. Time is the only asset that cannot be replenished, yet it is the one we trade most cheaply for the illusion of security. If you spend your life working for money, you are a slave to a depreciating currency. If you spend your life building assets that work for you, you become the master of your time. Wealth isn't about being able to buy anything. It's about no longer being forced to sell your life away to survive. Thank you for giving me your most precious asset today, your time. If this spoke to the version of you that is ready to stop grinding and start owning, please share this video with one person who is currently trapped in that cycle of labor. Subscribe to join our community of mental mastery, and don't stop here. Your evolution depends on your next move. Watch this next video right here to see how to apply these mindset shifts to your daily habits and continue your journey toward true freedom. I'll see you there.